Okay, so this is the second video of the slope notes. And so we started here, the type of slope. So there's going to be 4 types of slope that you will be asked and you'll be able to recognize and also determine what type of slope it is. The first one is a positive slope. And that type of line, it's going to be a diagonal. These are all going to be lines, but this is going to be facing diagonally. If I could spell, sorry. Diagonal. Jeez. I swear you guys, I should not do this at night. Diagonal. That's an A. Okay, so a positive slope from left to right. From left to right, if it's going uphill, it's a positive slope. So if it's increasing, it's a positive slope. Okay? A negative slope. And that's also going to be diagonal. But from left to right, it's going to be going downhill. It's going to be decreasing. Now, I know I can't get in the negatives for this, but let's just say, for an example, the more I work out, the more minutes I work out, my weight is dropping. Now, I know I can't get into the negative, but that's just an example of how it can go downhill as the x is increasing. Okay. This one, a zero slope. This is a horizontal line. So a zero slope means the x value changes, but the y doesn't. So the y is always, and it can be here, but it just has to be a horizontal line. That's what we call the zero slope. And then this one, we have an undefined. And that's going to be vertical. And that's one, so I'm going to show you examples of how this can happen. So for example, if we had a table that had the xy value, we had xy, and our x was, -2, 0, 2. And our y, let's say it's -3, -3, -3. The y is the same the entire time. Well, if you did this change here, this -3, -3, that's a 0 over 2. Well, if 0 is on the top, that's going to equal 0. So that's why it's a zero slope. Now, if this was switched, if we had -3, -3, -3, well, that's right. Let's do +3 since it's on that side. So we have +3 always on the x value, but then the y's were -2, 0, and 2. Then your change of y, you have a 2 over 0. Well, 2 over 0 is undefined. Now I can go more into that when we're all together, but 2 over 0 is undefined because you can't divide by 0. So if 0 is under the fraction bar, it's undefined. That's how I kind of remember it. Now, equation examples. Here are some examples that would match this type of slope, a positive slope. You will have an x and a y in your equations. So for example, in slope-intercept form, you can have y equals 2x minus 3. Okay. You can have y equals 4x plus 5. You can also have just y equals 2x, meaning the the y-intercept would be 0. You can have y equals 1/2 x. So you don't have to have a second number here, a constant, for these type of positive slopes. A negative slope, you want your x and y values for sure. That you can have y equals a -3x plus 2. This number here is your slope, so that's going downhill. This is going to be y equals -1/3 x minus 7. That's a negative slope, and these are all linear. The way you can tell it's linear, you guys, is look at your exponents. These are all 1 with the x, so this is why it's going to make a linear equation. Then you can even have y equals a -x. You just have no number out here, no constant. It's going through the origin and just going downhill. Now this one, 0 and horizontal here, this one, you only have your y value. So your y only. to where you can have y equals 5, y equals a negative 3, y equals 1/2. And the reason being that all points are the same on the y. So all points have the same y. Y value. Okay? Now, what's nice about all three of these are functions. So I'm going to write it like this. So all three of these, ooh, that's pretty good. These are all functions. And we've talked about this many times. So each x value has one y value. Oh, that should be value there. X value has one y value. Even though this y is repeating, negative 2 is only going to negative 3. 0 is only going to negative 3. 2 is only going to negative 3. So this one, when you have a y equals a number, a constant, your slope is 0. There's no mx left. Now this one, this is your x only. Your x only. And your x only is going to have like x equals 12, x equals 3, x equals negative 5/3, x equals negative 6. All points have the same x. So all points have same x value. Okay, so all points have the same x value. Now, with this though, since all points have the same x value, like x is going in negative 3, it's getting negative 2, negative 3, 0, negative 3, 2. This is not a function, okay? And we talked about that before because the x values repeat. Not a function. It's linear, but it's not a function, okay? Because the x value is repeating over and over and going to different y values. Okay, so real quick, what I want to do is there's this video called Slope Dude. So on the back of these notes, you're probably going to have another copy that I'll make for you so you don't have to draw it. But I want you to, it's called The Adventures of Slope Dude. After this video, I want you to watch it. You might even watch it twice because it's just so entertaining. And I will have a diagram here that I want you to fill out up here. And then down here, I'm going to have practice. This is going to help us with 3-5. Changing equations from one form to another. So practice changing standard form, which we'll talk about standard form, to slope-intercept form. I will have this written on your paper by the time you guys get it. So for example, if we have 2x plus y equals 4. This goes back to when we were solving those literal equations when I wanted you to get y by itself. So we're going to solve for y and get by itself. Well, what do we have to move here? Well, we have to subtract the 2x. Now, remember when we were doing this earlier in the year, I kept saying put that x term first, and now is the reason why. Because now we can put this in slope-intercept form. Now this is our slope, negative 2, and this is our y-intercept form, or y-intercept is 4. So we'll practice graphing these, okay? So the next thing, let's do this. Let's say it's, I don't know, negative 3x plus 6y equals 9. Well, I want to get y by itself. So I can add 3x. Then I have 6y equals 3x plus 9. I can't combine these, they're not the same. But I still have a 6 here. So I can divide each of these by 6. Y equals, be careful how you divide this. 3 divided by 6 is 1/2 x. Now 9, 6, that's our y-intercept. So you could change this to a mixed number if you like. Don't change your fraction or your slope to a mixed number. But 9, 6, you could change that to a mixed number if you'd like. So that would be, what, 1 and 3, 6 would be 1/2. So that'd be 1/2. Or if you want to even keep it 3 halves too. You could simplify it down to 3 halves. But if you really had to graph it, it might be easier to do 1/2. Either way. So that's just some practice because you'll see that in 3-5. Okay, enjoy watching the Slope Dude video.